Just browse any industry magazine and count how many times you come across these words: blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, social media, Internet of Things, etc. That should make it clear that technology and humans are becoming entangled like never before, and our reliance on it seems to be only on the rise. In the upcoming keynote address, Rafael Mota, Global MarTech Director, AB InBev, will share his perspective on MarTech, humanizing technology. Welcome, Mr. Mota.
Hello, everybody. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about MarTech to this big audience here. Here at ABI, we have like a super special approach to do this. And I wanted to share a little bit about our experience and how we actually set the communication path and how we're driving MarTech with this mindset of humanizing technology, right? So just to quick make an introduction about me, my name is Rafael Mota. I live here in Brazil, specifically in Campinas, which is close to São Paulo, a big city here, right? Where the agencies, production partners, and everybody that works with marketing, or the big majority of people that works with marketing, that is being graduated or being working, right? And my background is fully on advertisement, brand building, digital marketing, traditional marketing. I joined ABI in 2016, but I have like experience working with several brands and other partners since 2007. So it's been like the past 14 years working with that. Here is a little bit of my family: Marina, Dulcinea, Quincas. And let me go for something that's super important here. I want to guarantee that everybody has clear understanding, and I know that everybody here in this forum is super clear about that. How we understand MarTech, right? MarTech, it is super clear. It is marketing, which is pretty much the heart or the emotions, the sentiment. We see that in a way that's more connected to the subjective way of dealing with things, understanding. And technology, it is the opposite way, right? Or at least until now, it was the opposite way. So the brain. So everything that was connected to the logical stuff, less emotional, and that was like the way we were interpreting. When we talk about MarTech, we need to join those two profiles, right? So we're talking about like bringing the mad people with the math people together, and the sweet spot is what we call MarTech. Right. Once that's said, what does it mean for us when we talk about like organization? I think that is one of the insights that we started to have in mind to build this conversation in the past. And when that starts to translate, we need to have like a super important mix of different abilities of different people in a way that we can put that together harmonically, right? We need to put them working and matching in a good way. So we have in our team nowadays here in São Paulo and spread across the whole globe, digital natives, which people that has like an understanding about digital and technology by design. So they came to the world in a generation that they have that easily being part of their life. So they are super familiar with everything. So we don't need to explain a lot. They have that because it is part of their lives, right? So it's young people at the same time. So software developers, people that's like putting their hands on the code, right? Data engineer, people that knows how to operate data in a big scale, which is super important for us as well. But we also have people from marketing and business background, because that it is the way we found like giving more technical knowledge to these people and giving more subjective knowledge to the people that has more the hands on the code and things like that. We start to match this idea to build this more generic, not generic, but more holistic profile of profession, right? And we also have like consulting people coming from consulting partners that helps us to support on specific needs, specific points that we need more a deeper knowledge in some specific things, right? So this is super important for us as well to close this big chain. And then today, based on the audience of this group here, I think it is important to understand what does means when we talk about like humanizing technology. Humanizing technology, it is an approach, right? It is a way for us to talk about technology, which is the piece that seems to be a little harder to be explained to everybody, to a broader audience. And we want to make it simple, right? The idea it is to remove any complexity of this talk to guarantee that we can have like a broader understanding about everything related to how things connects. To start that, it is important to share the same goals, the same end game, right? Everybody needs to walk in the same direction. Otherwise, we're gonna have conflicts, people trying to put more complexity or other people trying to simplify. No, we need to have like a super clear goal for everybody. So we start by connecting the main idea of marketing at this point. We need to understand our consumer better than anybody. Nowadays, we know that Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, all this chain of data, Amazon, they know more about our consumers than us because they track their behavior, they track everything they do. And we want to do something similar for that because we want to understand our consumer at least better than anybody. So we need to be prepared for that. We want to, by understanding our consumer, to create the most amazing content as possible. We want to create intimacy with our consumer by bringing them what they want to see and interact with, right? And we want to engage with the right people at the right time and more at the right channel. And this is something that it is more connected to talking with people that has affinity with the things they want to talk, and do not talk with people that has no affinity or doesn't want to talk about that, because that will give me not only more precision in the way we speak and then we engage with people, but also will give me less spent on something that's not gonna bring me any result, any good thing, right? And sometimes we're gonna avoid some issues, potential issues as well. And super important, to make it possible, we need to measure every single step of it. If we cannot measure it, clearly we cannot, this doesn't exist. So we cannot prove, okay, it was working or not. Feeling it is not enough for us to go and make some actions. We need to track, we need to see what's happening. We need to see if the result expected, it is clearly is working, right? And the last piece, and super important, by doing the whole chain of it, we need to guarantee that we're improving our results based on the acquired knowledge. And it's basically looking for every single step that's being measured to offer some new opportunities or new learnings, improve the process overall, change something in the chain, the whole thing, right? Or to bring something that nobody was expecting for us to start working from zero. Okay? I am the global director for MarTech on the technology perspective. So my whole organization, it is supporting the marketing team. So our main client at these days, it is the marketing team. I feel that more and more, this is getting mixture. So soon, probably we're gonna see different approaches of how we're doing that with more technical people, right? In the marketing side and more marketeers into the technical side. But at this point right now, we have a clear division and I'm seeing that diluting a little bit, but our main client is the marketing team. And that requires for us, or at least required until now, and I think that was one of the most successful things that we brought to the way we were implementing the technology, that it is the approach of the way we talk, the way we put our communication in place, right? So we choose to have something that we call technology within the marketing routine, which is looking to technology on the routine of marketing. So we don't talk about technology only between connections, between tools and data flows and things like that. We also have these layers, but this is one of the ways we found that is the key for us to succeed with our marketeers, right? So we start our campaigns usually giving the information to the media planning agency plus the creative agency, which is pretty much feeding them with historical information to guarantee that they can plan something connected to that purpose, right? To that goal that we established for the campaign, right? What we do in the technology side, it is to build like what we are doing here as a funnel that guarantee that we can accommodate that planning into some previous learning, or to use data to guarantee we're doing that the best way. So it means that if I'm proposing to go to one specific publisher and I put that, okay, we should do in that way, my machine, it is able to do right now an understanding about if it was like the best negotiation, if it is the best approach or publisher for that kind of purpose, because what we're doing, it is to provide knowledge and from previous experience to the media planning agency for them to be able to change something and do it properly in the way we're building. At the same time, we bring knowledge about previous experience in terms of creativity. For awareness, for example, we know what are the main triggers for awareness. So we bring that as insights for the creative agency to guarantee that they can build something from scratch. And that happens technologically into the funnel with two tools that is actually receiving this data through the tool and then interacting with this data, showing scores, talking about, okay, this is good, this is not exactly good. Nothing is gonna break you, stop you, but you're gonna be aware about like some potential issues or problems we have. Okay, so once we do that, we put everything in a single digital asset management tool, which is the place that stores not only the content, but also add some tags on this. So data, it is something that's always been part of the process, and it's important to have awareness about it. When you put an asset there, you can add some tags, and you have like technology that causes smart tagging, for example, into digital asset management tools. That when you do that through AI, they start to add some important information related to that content, which further we're going to connect with, for example, performance or perception of people, right? Because it is, okay, it's clear. I have a logo, I have a beer, I have a beach, I have a person walking, I have some specific characteristics of this image. So everything is stored there and going to a place that we can manage, compare, and cross with other things, right? And this is the second piece of it. The third piece of it, it is all the tagging and legal policies and consumer data collection. We have tools to guarantee these compliance stuff, right? So we're talking about putting Google Tag Manager, OneTrust, which is one of those tools that we use for privacy data collection. So we have the tag managers helps us to add other kinds of tags, for example, GMP, CDP. So everything in that stage, it is important to guarantee that we are applying into through technology, every policy or legal aspects needed to be covered at that moment, right? So technology, it is responsible for that. And then we track if the asset is doing well or not. So we have like a control through all assets developed to show to everybody if it is working or not, right? And then we can go back and do it again if it is needed, okay? If you go to the next stage, you're gonna see that it is one of the core of our operation. We're talking about storing the whole consumer data, right? We have a CDP that we're building in the past years, right? that is the place that store all consumer data. And then there we clean this data, we enrich this data, we put all together through the process that I just described. So the websites, for example, or all media channels, they bring it in the proper way with the right taxonomy, putting that inside a single place that it is like data for us available, protected, following all the legal aspects. So GDPR, LGPD in Brazil, and other laws specifically for consumer data policies, right? And in that place, it is the key, the core of operation. Because the main idea here, it is to make this data available for different purpose, right? So when we talk about that, I'm talking about like we have like a strong and big team in India, right? That is responsible to take this information and cross it with other sources of data, right? Because they need to find correlations, they need to see if there's like any propensity. So we have like modules that support us to create the right segments to be used in our campaigns for specific purpose or intentions. To guarantee more reach or more efficiency, more effectiveness in the message. And then if you see for those colorful balls here, those are the segments that we're talking to. So when it goes to this place where we store all this data, we start to connect this information with other sources that we have. So I say, if I have a piece of information that I can connect and enrich this data, I'll do it. If I can apply some intelligence to guarantee advanced analytics to bring it back as a better segment, I'm going to start to pull this data organized in a way that can be used by the brands, right? And then this machine, it is connected to the audience creation, right? Which is pretty much that goes directly to the activation channels. So it means that through technology, we're making super easy the collection, the treatment of this information, and then the usage, right? This is key. And the idea it is to put that connected to the main sources or the main activation channels and teach how we do that with our marketing team, right? In this place, you can see that like this gun here, it is basically the activation channels, right? And we have also something that we use, which is the dynamic content optimization. This is for us to try different approaches for the same campaign. It is a machine that we connect with our data and put some different pieces of art in there, right? Pieces of creative pieces like logo, backgrounds, different texts, colors, elements that can be assembled in different ways. So you can have like several possibilities of digital pieces and activations that goes to the audience, and then they start automatically seeing what's the best one in terms of efficiency or effectiveness at this point right now. And then we said before, okay, we want awareness. So people seeing it is the most important metric. So what are the attributes that like when I change gets better awareness or more view through rate or more interactions, engagement, things like that. We said before, and then these machines support us to do like thousands of possibilities and do like a decision tree until we have like some 5-10 creatives that are the best ones, and then we keep moving, putting a lot of investment on those ones. So this is like another machine that supports us into the process to guarantee more agility, make it easier the process of trying different approaches, right, in terms of communication. And then we have like the activation tools, right? Which is pretty much marketing cloud. We have like a marketing cloud that allows us to send emails, push notifications, SMSs, and everything, right? Plus social channels such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, DSPs, DMPs. So we have like all these connected to the CDP because it is the way for us to manage collection, cleaning, respecting legal aspects, plus making super easy the usage of it into the activation channels. And that is the first time actually we're touching the consumer, right? So far we were talking about like technology overall, but not touching the consumer, right? This is the first time after explaining the whole thing here that we're touching consumer. And what is that about, right? This is in the digital environment, right? Specifically, but we also can have something happening on the TV, like together. The planning here, it is more digital driven, but we're following the whole thing related to the offline environment as well, right? And in this point right now, when we start to make these interactions with our consumer, we can start to collect information that we call opinions, which is pretty much interactions on the digital environment. So people commenting, clicking, liking, sharing our campaign or our content overall. We call it opinions. It is everything that comes from social listening. And then we have like the team influencing, responding, interacting with those comments and things like that with our consumer. And also we have like the influencer management tools supporting us with other partners that we're providing content to guarantee we can have that in the same place. So all these opinions generate some sets of data that we collect and bring it to our database, okay? More than that, we have what we call perceptions, which means people is in the bar, not necessarily they're seeing our content on Facebook at this point, right? But they are having some interactions with our brands because they saw like the beer or they ask for that or a soda or something. They ask for that, or they're in activation or some event that we're sponsoring. So the idea here is to use other sources such as Kantar, Nielsen, Millward Brown, Ipsos in Brazil, which is organizations that do research, which is going like outside in the streets and asking people, okay, what's your name? Identify about like what is your socioeconomic fit, to see how can we organize this information, and what was the last time you had a drink, a beer, for example. Okay, it was yesterday. Great. One day having beer. Which one was that? Okay, Stella Artois. Great. Have you been drinking other beers in this month? Yes, Budweiser. Okay, I have like the top of mind, or the top or the second top of mind. I start to use this information to bring what we call perception. Okay, do you know which is the beer that has specific characteristic? This is like my campaign approach, for example. I want you to guarantee that people understand that. Okay, if I do that in the research and people say, I know, awesome, successful. If they doesn't, not exactly successful. So by bringing this information about opinion and perception and putting that in the same place that we call consumer insights platform, right? We start to be able to cross this information with other data, such as consumer data, such as activation data through performance media data. We put that everything, all this data in the same data lake, right? And I'm talking about data. So it means that it's a huge amount of information, of data, right? Not necessarily easy to be consumed. So we need to cross this line and make it easier, because we're talking about using this information. So we bring that, all this information about opinion, perceptions, performance, and research. And then the next stage, it is to start building what we call data visualization, which is bringing this data into a place that we call information, at least, right? And through this information, which is cleaner data, harmonized, organized in a way that can have like the same time frame, we can start to extract the insights. And the insights are going to be feeding our media planning and our creativity to start over and over this cycle again. So the idea of this this approach in terms of humanizing technology, it is to talk about the marketing routine and how technology fits into that in a way that makes the life easier, right? We understand, and we have like as a mission, that our mission, it is to make our MarTech stack accessible and useful for the marketeers, to guarantee we can use that within the marketing routine, improving not only the routine, but also the results and the campaigns and everything like that. Okay. We really believe that the only way for us to capture the benefits of our everything that we're implementing, it is by driving adoption. And what does it mean? It means that we're gonna make, like at a global level, the implementation, the setup of these tools and the process at a global level, to guarantee everybody has like the same stack and processes set, right? And then we train the team, which is the second stage, right? Train, it is something that we also provide at a global level. So the center of excellence, it is at a global level. So we have like specific teams taking care of different tools and processes that know how to operate that. And then we go into the zones and teach them how to do. And that will be like easily applied for center of excellence, is teaching people that needs to operate that properly. So they need to understand how to manage that, right? So the training, it is a super important piece of it. And then through the measurement of every single step, we do measure the adoption, which means usage, right? Usage. And in this case, sometimes it is time spent into the tool or numbers of logins or something that can give us a clue about people getting to that, and then see if the usage is coming. So when we're starting the operation, you need to measure these kind of things. But the key point, it is measure the benefits coming from the usage, because it is super well connected. So the benefit comes for people that use it. People that use it usually was well trained, and people well trained was well trained in a place that was like well set up. So those are the four things that we believe that it is super important to put that thing to work. And by doing that, we believe that we are giving authority to people to do something, right? So we're making easier things that people were doing before, but super connected, and then bringing efficiency through the whole chain, which is not exactly one piece of it, because some people is like super worried to do that piece of it. But if you connect that to the whole thing, and we are responsible for that, we can empower our team to do what they need to do. And when I say empower, I'm talking about doing the things they are doing nowadays better, or more efficient, or faster, right? So those are the things we can see as empower. And that is like the last piece of it. We believe that in the way we're building and talking approach, this approach of humanizing technology, we are putting the consumer at the center, because the data generated through the interactions with the consumer, it is the source for us to take decisions, to build our strategy, to build our operations, and to see if it's working or not, because they are the ones feeding us with what we call success. We're actually building something that we're calling the empathy machine, which is understanding my consumer better than anybody, bringing them what they want to interact with or not interact with, right? And then learning from these interactions and improving to make it always better. So we call about that because it's basically the way we approach our relationship in all the matters. And we think it is the best way for us to do with our consumer as well. So this is what I brought for today. It was like a piece of a learning from our experience from the past, right? Nowadays, we are in a team in Campinas and Mexico and the other countries, right? That has around 140 people, right? We started with 8 people 2.5 years ago. And we're building something that it's super impactful, right? So we really believe that this is a good approach, and that was like the idea to share with you guys today. So thank you so much for that. I hope I see you, everybody. So feel free to add me on LinkedIn if you want to extend this conversation. Cheers.
Thank you, Mr. Mota, for all the insights. Now we'll proceed to the next session. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.